Hi there and welcome back to FM8tutorials.com, continuing with this month's final installment of the feature we've been doing, making drum sounds with FM8, percussive sounds with FM8. Today we're going to show you how to make two different percussive hits in FM8. Starting with this sort of tom hit, quite useful, kind of minimal, sort of housey sort of sounds, and then we're going to show you how to make a second percussive hit like this one. So let's start with this tom hit up here. And first off, just create a new sound in FM8 and go ahead and program this sound. We can go to the master section first. Make sure the sound's monophonic. It's a percussive sound. Take that detune off. Everything else can stay pretty much the same really. And move straight over to the operator section. We're going to be using sine waves for this sound. So Opertor F can stay as a sine, but I just want to key sync that and take the ratio to 0.5. So you've just got a sine wave going on there, and we can keep this operator just routed straight to the output. We're not going to use a filter for this sound. I can turn on operator E, route that to the output, but a bit quieter, just put that at about 40. Got two sine waves going there. Key sync that one, so we've got a nice consistent sound. And what I was going to do for operator E was take the ratio to 1.2. You can hear that we've got a bit more of a kind of chord sort of character there by just detuning that ratio a little bit. Also going to be using operator X for this sound, which is the noise operator. But I'm just going to use, the way I'm going to use this noise operator is to just feed it into F, to just kind of like route this noise into F, just to give us a bit more kind of top end with the sound, but it's going to route through F rather than straight to the output. So let's go over to this operator and activate it really by pushing the amp up. Go about 3/4 of the way up, around about 86. We've got a bit of noise in there now. Turn the cutoff right up to 100. Maybe pull the resonance down. It's about 44. Next thing to set up really is the envelopes. So all these three operators we're using here, we can link all of these. So we want the same envelope for all three of them. We just want a very percussive kind of plucky envelope, so it's just pulling that sustain right down basically. Maybe zoom in a bit here. So I've got something a bit more like that, a bit more kind of percussive and plucky. Okay, so next thing to do is set up the pitch envelope really. So I want the same kind of envelope for that pitch. So what I can do here is, if I just hit save, just put it into this empty slot here, move over to the pitch envelope and just load that same envelope up. But rather than with the pitch envelope it going to go into this level 0 here, I want it to go right down to -1. So we've got more of an extreme kind of pitch modulation going on, and then just pull this decay back a bit so it's a bit more sort of tighter with the pitch envelope, a bit more plucky. Something a bit more like that really. Then push this envelope amount up. So you've got a bit more sort of boomy kind of tom sound going now. So let's move over to the effects section to just polish this sound off a little bit. Okay, so first up, I just want to put this EQ on and just turn the volume up to 100. So we can just got a bit more kind of volume in the sound really. I'm going to add a reverb next. Just turn that right dry wet down to about 1/4 of the way up. Push the treble right up to about 86. So, and then push push the time up a bit. So we've got quite a sort of long decay on the reverb, but with quite subtle amount of kind of wet sort of reverb, what we're sort of bringing into the sound. So, and next thing I want to do is this chorus delay, and sync the delay to push the time up to around 66, and I'm going to pull the low cut up a bit so we've not got too much kind of muddiness or low end in that delay. So push the low cut up to about 11, pull the high cut down to about 72, push the feedback up at 30 will do, and then just pull this dry wet down to around about 30, 34, 32. And there's our sound, basically, a nice kind of percussive tom sound. Put it with the kick. And then with this sort of sound, you could go one step further. I mean, I do love FM8, but I'm not a massive fan of the distortion units they have in FM8, although I will use them for some sounds. But I just tried a couple of different distortion units on this percussive sound. So this FabFilter Saturn, which is quite nice. Just takes the sound in a different direction and just loaded up one of the presets, the basic saturator, which just gives it quite a nice sort of character really. And then also tried just in Logic's native plugin this distortion 2 thing, which is just quite a simple sort of distortion unit but has quite a nice character on it. So it's just a kind of different sort of tone to the sound again, or you could just have it clean. Still sounds quite nice. Okay, so let's move on to showing you how to make this second percussive hit here. Okay, so let's program this second percussive hit. Let's start with a new sound here. Go to the master section. Make sure the synth is monophonic. Take that detune off. Go to the operator section. I'm going to use triangle waves for this sound. So load up triangle waves. Both E and F. We're going to be using these two operators. So push the ratio up to 2 for both these operators. Key sync them. So we're doing a similar thing really as with the last sound, except we're going to use triangles for this one, and just the ratio is going to be slightly different. Turn on operator E. Route that to the output along with F. Maybe just put it down to about 80. So they're both routing to the output at the same level really. So you've just got some simple kind of triangle waves going there at the moment. So next up we're going to set the envelopes. You can link both these envelopes here, E and F, and just take that sustain off. And that should do us. And the sound's going to really come together using this pitch envelope here. So I want to do a similar thing really. Take the envelope amount up to 100 and just put an extra kind of envelope kind of pointer in there by just holding control and clicking in that area. And I want a plucky sort of envelope like what we did for the amp envelope of these operators. I want a similar envelope really, so just pull this sustain right down so we've got something like that. Let's zoom in on this here and just take this decay right down. Something like that should do us, and just set a bit more kind of sort of decay for these amp envelopes here. Just pull that sort of decay out a little bit. So next up we can set some effects, just bring some distortion into the sound really, put an overdrive on there, push the drive up to about 70, push the tone up to 100, and just bring in some bass as well to maybe about 60, 61. Next up we can have a peak EQ, and just going to bring some more volume into the sound here, push this up to around about 80. we're hearing that percussion hit a little bit more now. And let's just boost some of those mids and high mids here using this peak EQ. Okay, and next up we can put in a reverb and just pull the dry wet down to around quarter of the way, push the time up a little bit, and then just push the bright and treble up, so we're getting a nice sort of crisp top end on that reverb. Go over to the master section, maybe take the transpose up to 12. Got quite a nicer tone there by just taking that sound up by 1 octave, and that's our sound really. So quite a nice sort of percussive hit. We can do a similar thing again with this by using some distortion, which just kind of gives it a completely different character, and there you go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you found it useful and giving you some ideas into how to synthesize your own percussion hits in FM8. And any questions, yeah, just get in touch, let us know, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.